Hey guys, it's Always Improving, and today I'm going to be painting a portrait illustration. A few videos ago, I was deciding which portrait to paint, and I had sketched a bunch of them. And today I'm going to be painting another one of those portraits, and I'm going to put the image on the screen that I will be painting right now, along with the Instagram model that the picture belongs to. So with the image chosen, it's time to start sketching out the picture and kind of finalizing shapes and things and just kind of getting a foundation of where I can start building off with the color. I might be able to test out a few colors on this paper since it is mixed media, but I probably won't do too much. The colors won't be too hard to mix, I don't think, for this illustration, but we'll see. So as you can see, I have finished the sketch, and now it's time to transfer over to watercolor paper. As usual, I will be using this Arches cold pressed paper along with pencils, mechanical and traditional, and also a mixture of watercolor pencils with these for my sketch. Since I had already done smaller sketches to really get the feel and the form of the piece down, this final sketch on the watercolor paper was really for me to get just an idea of where I could put the watercolor down once I transferred to paint. I also wanted to make sure I got the values right, so I would circle or lightly shade where there was shadows so that I knew in watercolor where I could begin placing the colors to get a darker value. Now it's time to bring the paints out. I'm using my Turner watercolors for this painting and some Mozart brushes, the usual, and they also of course have water and napkins for painting. As usual with this painting, I started out with the skin tone. I wanted to make sure it was pretty red because her skin was a bright color and it was really red, especially near the forehead and the cheeks. So I wanted to make sure that the red value shined through. So I tried to make my initial wash pretty red tinted. Also, I really did keep up with the value. I wanted the nose to be a lot lighter. There was also some sort of highlight on her forehead that I wanted to keep. So I tried to keep that part of the painting white. I tried to keep the white of the paper in that part of the painting. Here's where I began to add a lot of shadow. I wanted to make sure her eyes looked like they were farther back than her cheeks and her nose. I wanted to make sure I got all the shading there. I also added a lot of shading to her neck because it was quite a bit darker than her face. And yeah, I just wanted to make sure I defined all of those shapes. After sketching out exactly where her hair ended and where it flowed, I went in with an initial wash just to sort of anchor the hair shape and get more of a concrete form for the entire painting before I move on to smaller details. The initial wash is a bit gray, but of course it's watercolor, so that will darken with time and with more layers. now I have added the initial wash to the eyes and to the lips so that I have able to, again, just anchor the piece and get it really finalized for the form. And now I can begin adding details to each of those individual components and bringing them together into one portrait. So I first began doing that on the hair. I mixed my own black with some blue and some orange, and then I was able to get a bit of different tones and a variety of blacks, you know, so that I could get a dark color. I also added a lot more red to her skin in this phase while the hair was drying. I really needed to build it up. It was hard to do in the initial wash, so I really built that up throughout this entire process of painting. After doing that, I'm moving on to the facial features, getting in those details. I wanted to make sure their values were correct, and add the pupils to her eyes, shade them, things like that. Just get more and more detailed into the piece. And after adding a very bright red to her cheeks and blending that all out, I move back to the hair and kind of getting more of a streaky look, more of a hair texture into it, including her eyelashes, which, although they're not the best I've ever done, were pretty good. I do think I'm getting better at doing those. I always feel like they're too thick or too numerous or sometimes not enough and too thin. It's really hard to get a good balance on those eyelashes, but with this piece I think I did a decent job. And finally, after finalizing a couple of details and getting her skin as red as I wanted it to be, I was able to add her freckles. Now, I was pretty scared to do these because they're all over her face, and if I messed it up, it would mess up the entire portrait. So I was pretty careful when doing these, and I wanted their placement to look natural. So overall, I really enjoyed making this piece, and it was a pretty quick process, and I think that's a sign of growth within portrait making. I've learned new techniques, and I think that I'm improving in this, and I hope to keep improving. And that's all, guys. All I have left to do is sign the piece, so I really hope you enjoyed watching the process of my painting, and I hope that you'll like this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!